I traveled the road as it roved its way onward, following its curves and winds through the fields and open wilderness with only eagles soaring above watching me roam on. Walking beneath the great blue sky lightened my spirits as excitement stirred in my heart and my gait light without a sore in my footsteps. For the first time since awakening beneath the moonlight, I had direction to go and a location in mind. I still didn't have any clue where I was or how to get to Castle Dracula, but walking the open road with my staff in hand and my pack chock full of important items, I felt like a real adventurer. Nobody else traveled the road I walked, at least not at the moment. Periodically, I would look ahead or behind to see if someone would appear, but nobody did, so I kept walking in hopes I would find someone who could explain where in the world I am. Though I grieved the death of the farmers and my thoughts about them never left my mind, I couldn't allow myself to give in to despair. Avenge them by living another day and focusing on the path in front of you. I focused solely on reaching my objective point and finding my person of interest. The rest I'll worry about later. It was midday when I saw another person on the road. Well, two people actually. I walked up to them in friendly greeting. Good day. Do you know how to get to Castle Dracula? They stared at me as if I were a demon and chased me off cursing. Geez, what's your problem? I snapped at them, continuing on. Good freaks. The next person I saw was a man driving a cart. Excuse me, could you tell me the way to Castle Dracula? Why the hell would you want to go there? He snarled suspiciously. I feel I'm supposed to go there. He looked at me strangely before cracking the reins and driving off. Wow, humans are jerks, I murmured, cocking my head at the sound of a horse whinnying from cliff tops on the left side of the road. It wasn't the only sound. The clamoring of voices could be heard from a distance, in the very same direction. Probably a couple of horseback riders out on the trail. Do I really want to talk to more jerkasses? I wondered before figuring it out. I should. I have no idea where I am. Maybe I'll skip the creepy-ass vampire castle and ask where's the closest town is instead. Yeah, good idea. I'll go and talk to them. Finally figure out where I am. The only problem, the cliff tops were tall and steep, nearly impossible for someone to hike up on 2 feet. I was too desperate to pass this opportunity up. I diverted from the road and headed west to the cliffs, using my staff as a walking stick. It wasn't an easy hike up. The cliffs were extremely steep, and I needed to use the stick for leverage to keep from tumbling back down. More than a few times, my balance shifted, and I quickly supported myself again. The sound of voices grew louder the further I went up. Still, I climbed onward, crawling onto my hands and knees when the cliffs became practically vertical. I could smell what was over its edge: smoke, fire, human sweat, earthy scent of horse manure, and the sharp, sour tang of alcohol? All of them strong enough they prickled my nose. The hill leveled out on the very top, giving me a good overlook of the scene below. I lay on my belly with my chin propped on my knuckles and my pack beside me. At the foot of the ring of steep cliff tops lay a single horse cart next to an emerging fire. A camp out. I realized maybe they can help me if I ask nicely without talking about vampire castles. Who knows, they could point me to a town with someone who would be generous enough to show me the way. Something forcefully rolled me onto my back. The fuck are you looking at? I screamed when a hand grabbed hold of my shoulder and pushed me against the ground. I held my staff against my body and pushed against my ambusher. Back off or I'll blast you to bits with this thing. Like hell you will. I'll strangle you first. The man's breath reeked of alcohol. Did the good old judge send you to spy on us? I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. I snarled at him. I just wanted to ask for directions. Why are people such assholes? Trevor let her go. A woman pushed him off me. Forgive him. He's tired, angry, and very drunk. I can see by that, I snapped, nauseous by the strong alcohol scent, and smell it. I stood firmly holding my staff and staring at the young woman. She had the same friendly air as the ill-fated farmers, garbed in a large blue cloak, with short blonde hair and sweet blue eyes. I knew I could trust her. Familiarity stirred within my mind at the sight of her robes. Have I seen them before? I tried to grab at the memory, but it slipped through my grasp like wet eels. "What are you doing sneaking around up here?" she asked. "Yes, what were you doing sneaking up here like a little fox?" her companion grumbled, giving me a steely gaze. "I'm lost. I thought maybe I could find someone to ask for directions. Can you help me?" "Of course," the blue-robed woman said amiably. "Well, maybe. That depends on if we know where you're going." I was about to answer but held my tongue. If it was just her, I would have been honest about my destination, but her grizzled, drunkard companion kept giving me the stink eye. "Do you know where the closest town is?" She smiled. "Keep following the road. Just stay on the path and you won't miss it." I nodded. "Thank you. I'll be on my way." I was about to trek down the hill when the drunk called me. Wait. I turned around, gripping my staff, ready to crack him in the skull if he tried anything. "You're not from around here. I can smell the naivete off you. If I were you, I'd bypass that shit-ridden village and go on your merry way to wherever you're heading." He shrugged, the alcohol scent wafting off him. "Trevor, she can't." The robed woman countered. "It's getting dark, and the demons are most active at night. She should stay with us." "Absolutely fucking not," Trevor growled. "The last thing we need is an extra mouth to feed and a wide-eyed puppy slowing us down." "You, Trevor Belmont, are a selfish..." "It's okay, but..." I cut in. "He's right. I'll only slow you down and be an extra burden." I sighed. "Besides, the last people who were kind enough to take me in suffered a terrible fate. All the better reason not to." Trevor scoffed, getting a sharp elbow from his companion. "You are a pain," he growled at her, approaching me. He took a scabbard from his belt and handed it to me. "If you must travel the big bad world by yourself, you should at least carry a weapon." I pulled out the weapon from its scabbard. "A dagger," I remarked, intrigued. "Smart one, aren't you?" Trevor smirked. "Know how to use one." "I've never held a knife before," I told him honestly. It's easy. It's easy. Just stab them with the pointy end," Trevor instructed. "Aye, but don't go taking it out in the middle of town. Wouldn't want to cause a fight that'll break that pretty face of yours." I thanked them both as though wished them good luck, not before asking the woman her name. "Saga," she said happily. "Nice to meet you, Cypher." I smiled. Something tells me we'll meet again someday. I didn't walk far when I saw a sprawling town just over the hilltop, surrounded by barren farmland and bubbling mills. I nearly collapsed on my bottom from overpowering relief. The strength in my legs resurged, and the soreness swept away as I raced down the road, heart bursting with joy as each footstep I took led closer to civilization. I walked into the bustling streets, thriving with rustic people and smelling of earth, metal, and manure. Yellow Tudor-style houses with thatched roofs and smoking chimneys, cobbled roadways busy with carts, horses, and a rush of busy inhabitants. Rows of stables full to the brim with livestock neighed, mooed, clucked, and snorted in the mingling of human conversation. Somewhere off a bard played his jubilant strings, and in another avenue, a blacksmith clanged away on a newly forged sword. In the windows above the houses, inhabitants called out to the people down below, who shouted back in joyous response, some occasionally shouting out a clear warning before dumping out pots of murky water into the canals beneath their window. No wonder Trevor called it shit-ridden. I took everything in as I wandered through the streets, every sight, sound, and smell as I passed through avenues and turned corners, gaping astonished at my surrounding and at the people who hurried by. They all smelled dirty. I wrinkled my nose, and their clothes looked as if they hadn't been washed in days. I passed by dozens of stands, each one selling individual products as their overseers shouted out their prices and beckoned others to check out their wares. Various fruits, crop, and grain lined the stands. Freshly caught fish prickled the air in, and in another fine jewelry was being sold. One of those things was not like the others, I thought to myself, amused. But what startled me was the hanging meat from the stand to my right, carved and flayed. Slabs of meat lay on the table swarmed by flies, and I saw a huge hanging carcass of what looked to be a skinned deer. That didn't look very appetizing to me. Some apples, please. I politely asked the vendor at the fruit stand. All this walking and excitement made me hungry. Got coin for that? The woman selling them stared at me completely bewildered. No, I answered honestly. Off with you then. Shooed me away. Fine. I shrugged, heading to the center of town. Somebody's got to know how to get to the castle. Excuse me, but do you know how I can get to Castle Dracula? I asked a robed priest. Away with your ill talk. He dismissed me and crossed himself. I shrugged, clenching my gut in hunger as I watched the sun set. I went to the nearest inn and asked for a bed. When the innkeeper asked if I had coin to pay, I said no. If I can get money, I can pay. That's your problem, not mine. If you got no money to spend, stop wasting my time. She can stay with me. A drunk man grinned. Oi, I'll take her, cackled another. I quickly left the inn, finding a secluded spot in the corner of the square to sit down and taking out the last of my food. Eating the bread and fruits from my bag as I hopelessly watched the people go by. Few of them gave me a dismissive look while the rest ignored me. I slumped against the side of a board, feeling defeated. I'm never gonna find this goddamn castle if nobody will help me. I reached for my knife when a shadow stood over me. You shouldn't be out here, my child. An elderly voice speaks. Beaks! The night grows dark, and the demons will emerge, but it is the human beasts that are the most imminent danger. Vagrants roam these streets at night, and a young woman like you is a prime target. I don't have much of a choice. I hissed. I have no money for even an apple, let alone a bed at the inn. I noticed he was wearing the same blue robes as Cypher. You're a speaker. I covered my mouth. Wait a minute, why did I just figure that name? That I am, the old man smiled. I am the elder speaker. He helped me up. Come, let me take you to a place where there is good company. You look exhausted in body and mind. I can tell you're deeply troubled. I took up his offer. Something in my gut told me I could trust him. The speakers traveled in a small caravan pulled by vanner horses and flanked by riders. The elder speaker took me to his encampment, and after a few awkward introductions, set me up in the car with 5 others, all women. They didn't treat me poorly beside the guarded looks, and eventually warmed up to me when they realized I had no ulterior motives. They told me they were keepers of story and tradition of all Wallachia, and they could wield elemental magic. I looked out from my cart, watching the hills and trees pass by, feeling the rumble of the wheels beneath my bare feet until I was tired enough to lay down. I didn't sleep much. The movement of the cart kept me awake, but at least I felt safe and could close my eyes, listening the birds in the trees and the stirring breaths of the women sleeping huddled around me. There is truth about safety in numbers. I felt protected here, shielded from the night creatures prowling the night by a caravan of magic wielders and a sacred ward that kept them at bay. That night, I dreamt of the castle again, shrouded in the darkened shadows of thunderclouds. A voice cries out, urging me to hurry on and get to the castle as fast as I can. I run as my bare feet crunch beneath the earth, pulled towards the castle by a deep instinct and the voice's cry. Find him. Find Adrian. I woke up grumbling and rubbing the scars on my back, which started to sting. Welcome to the land of the living, an accented voice remarked. A speaker named Vivian. I've never seen anyone sleep so troubled. Sorry, I mumbled, sitting up and rubbing my eyes. I was dreaming. That's apparent? Vivian laughed, good-hearted. Come, there is food and good drink. I sat with the rest of the speakers as they rested outside for the morning before hitting the road. I felt in normal circumstances they'd converse freely and openly amongst themselves, but with a stranger in their midst, their conversation was subdued. If you are nomads, that means you don't have a home? I asked, wanted to start an innocent conversation. The speakers murmured to one another, but it was Vivian who answered, gently putting her hand on my shoulder. Our home is with each other. We traveled the world learning and sharing knowledge, passing down our stories and traditions to the next generation. I guess that makes you family then, I said. I said, yes, the elder smiled. You could very well say that indeed. I wish I had a family. I sighed wistfully. Maybe I do, and I don't remember who they are. Perhaps you are destined to find one in this world, the elder said optimistically. I hope so. Wouldn't that be nice? I had to ask it. Have you ever lost family members? Yes, the elder answered in a melancholy tone. Many to disease and injury. In the more recent months, most of our brothers and sisters have fallen to night creature attacks. Unfortunately, those who we sacrifice ourselves to protect curse us and turn their backs when we are in need. Most think we're the devil's servants and enemies of God. I certainly believe the latter. I fear for our very survival. I sadly understand that, I sympathized. Humans are jerks. I looked around at the speakers, but luckily there are good ones out there. I caught a few smiles among them. I've lost people too, but that's not what I meant. I looked him in the eye. Did you ever actually lose someone of your clan? Not that someone died, but actually got lost or separated? Oh, he answered softly. That we haven't. That we haven't, at least not in this train. That gives me hope, I murmured. This is going to sound weird, but being among you speakers feels familiar. Like I've been with you before. My head hurt trying to push through the fog. There is a possibility, Vivian murmured. We would have to contact other trains. Though we travel apart, we speakers have ways of contacting one another from vast distances, and we keep closely in touch. I believe we would have heard something if one of our own were lost. Do you remember anything before you woke up in that field? The elder asked. Oh, I shook my head. Just the sensation of falling. I wanted to tell him of the castle, but I wasn't comfortable talking about it among the speakers. They were starting to trust me, especially Vivian, and I wanted to cultivate that trust, not burn it to the ground. You said you think yourselves as the enemies of God, because you wield magic and help people, but you're not. The exact opposite, actually. It came onto me as instinct, just as the word speaker jumped off my tongue. You weren't supposed to learn magic, but you did, because you had the potential to do a lot of good in the world. That's why they let. No, it slipped away from me as quickly as it came on. What am I talking about? I clenched my throbbing head. Why do I know this? The speakers murmured among themselves, and the elder stared intently at me. I believe we may have found you for a reason. The elder wants to speak with you. Vivian informed later on in the day while I was walking along the caravan to stretch my feet, holding my staff. I nodded, about to jog and go meet him, not looking like a ruffian, you won't. While we stopped the horses, we're going to give you more comfortable clothes. I didn't argue with her. She changed me inside the women's cart, not before scrubbing me down with frigid lake water she magicked from its source, while Evelyn and Mary washed my hair. You are beautiful. Mary, the old woman said, brushing my hair while it dried. Thank you, I said. I think that's the first compliment I can remember. She gasped when she lifted my hair up to brush the underside, exposing my back. Dear Lord, dear Lord. My stomach shuddered. I knew what she saw. It doesn't hurt, I reassured her. It stings every now and again, but it quickly goes away. Evelyn and Vivian stared at the scars in a mixture of shock and disbelief. Get the elder. Get the elder, Vivian told Evelyn severely. I kept quiet as they draped a blanket over me, leaving my back exposed. I cringed, looking away shamefully when the elder came in. Evelyn tells me you have peculiar scars, he said friendly. I only want to look, I nodded, holding Vivian's hand while the elder looked over my back. Oh my. He then told Vivian to get me dressed so he could speak with me in private. Vivian nodded and dressed me in a comfortable traveler's cloak and blue dress. Not to worry, my child, the elder reassured me when I was alone. None here will judge you by the scars you bear. Many of us have some ourselves. You wouldn't have wanted to speak with me alone if you didn't think it. They were a big deal. I tugged at my cloak nervously. Why is everyone so freaked out by them? The farmers who took me in had the same reaction. Are they bad? Does it mean I'm bad? Not at all, the elder says. It confirms what I've been theorizing. And what's that? My eyes widened. That you are here for a purpose. I gazed at the elder, both reassured and confused. Tell me, child, you do not recall anything before you awoke in that field? I hesitated. It's all right. I promise you, no judgment. You can trust me. I sighed and revealed everything. I only remember the sensation of falling and the feeling my entire back was on fire. It hurt like nasty before I opened my eyes. I touched my scars. Right here. Interesting indeed, the elder mused. There is something else, I added, and confidently told him about the castle in my visions and dreams. Castle Dracula. He sighed. A place of darkness. I've been told that before. And you wish to go there, child? Not wish it. Not wish it. I tapped my staff. I have to go there. Something is telling me it's where I need to be. Like the Force telling birds to migrate south, or a bear to store up food and hibernate. It's compulsion, pure instinct. Maybe there's something to do with my past at the castle, I hope so, but whatever destiny I have, it starts there. I must go. That castle isn't deserted, the elder warned. The elder! A vampire rules over it, the son of Dracula, and the one who slew him. I've heard many rumors in our travels. They all have the same in common. He is not privy to strangers. I won't be a stranger, I said confidentially. Not if I convince him I'm not an enemy. I think I'm supposed to help him. I believe so too, the elder said clearly. It is a long journey to Castle Dracula, far too long for you to reach in time. Our caravan travels close to its borders. Stay with us until then, and we will help you prepare.